Alright friends, first I'll give you the theoretical explanations related to this strategy, and then we'll go to the chart together. We'll check how this strategy has performed in past market conditions, and also make a few trades using this method to see the results together. Dear friends, when I personally want to trade, I try to patiently look for opportunities where the likelihood of success is higher than the chance of failure. To do this, I have set a few filters for myself and follow certain rules. I don't trade just anywhere, and I focus on trading based on more reliable signals. Well, let's assume that the market is moving like this, friends. For example, it goes up here, then comes back down, goes up again, comes down to this point, and then we see it go up again, then drop again. So let's consider that the market has been moving in this way, sort of like this, with both upward and downward movements. The first thing I need to decide is whether I want to go for a buy trade or a sell trade. Basically, I need to determine which direction to trade. As I've mentioned multiple times in previous videos, I always trade in the direction of the trend. I recommend that you always trade in the direction of the trend as well. If my trend here is upward, I'll go for a buy trade, and if the trend turns downward, I'll definitely go for a sell trade. You could also consider buy trades in these sections or the reverse, sell trades, but the risk is higher. Since I don't want to lose my money, I avoid doing this and suggest that you do the same. Trade in areas where you can feel more confident. Alright, now what's the second point and the next thing I need to do, friends? I draw the support and resistance lines, the S&R. I've explained how to draw them many times before. Everyone should know this by now. But if you don't, there are a couple of videos on this topic in the channel that you can check out to learn how to properly and correctly draw S&R lines. Here we have an S&R line that I'm drawing manually. Imagine this line is perfectly straight and passes exactly through here. You can see that it has had a touch here, acted as resistance. Then upon the return, it broke through and served as support again. It's broken here again, and there have been multiple touches and trend changes, so it's a relatively reliable S&R. Draw all of them. Look guys, I want to prove to you that a strategy doesn't have to be complicated, cluttered, and full of indicators. This method is so simple, yet when you try it, you'll see it works so effectively that it's harder to lose with this method than to make a profit. That's my personal understanding based on my experience, and I've concluded that with this very simple method, I can confidently make a very successful trade. I don't need to load up my chart with various indicators and oscillators or use any of those complex strategies. I recommend you test this method as well. You might get great results from it, just like I have, or you might prefer other methods. I'm just sharing my personal experience with you. Now that the S&R lines are drawn, we move on to the chart, and this time draw the trend lines. I try to use a different color for the trend lines. Let's assume we have an upward trend line here, and from this point where the market turned bearish, we have a downward trend line like this. Imagine we are looking at this setup. The important point here, friends, when I talk about patience and taking your time, it's because I don't want to waste my money and prefer to take less risk. What I mean is that in a situation like this, in such a market, I would only trade at two specific points. Look, everyone, there are many different signals we can take here. For example, in this upward wave, we can get some really good bullish signals. On this trend reversal here, where there's a touch on resistance, we can get a signal, and in this downward wave, we can get bearish signals. There are many different signals we can catch. However, if we want to increase our confidence level, I prefer to trade in areas with less risk, where I feel more secure. I'll mark this with purple to make it clear. Look, there's one point here and another here, exactly where our S&R line intersects with our trend line, and the candles have reached that point. See, in this upward trend where I've drawn a bullish trend line, at this point, the S&R line has aligned with our trend line and crossed it. The candles have come down here, and from this point, I'm pretty sure it will bounce back. The probability of it breaking through and continuing this downward trend becomes very, very weak because it aligns with both the trend line and our support line. This point here is a very reliable spot for trading. Now, since the market has turned bearish again, this is my descending trend line. And we see that once again at this point, the trend line and the SNR line intersect. If the candles reach this point, see, it's possible that the trend might change and not even reach here. It's not guaranteed that they will reach this point, but if they do, this is the best place to place a sell trade because it's highly likely that the trend will reverse here and the market will move downward. There's a very low chance that the trend will be strong enough to break through these lines in this downward trend. So in this situation, we're trading in the direction of the trend, using our SNR as support and trading on the trend line. Plus, we're essentially using a pullback strategy here. Look, the line was broken, it came back here and made a pullback. So we have 4 filters being checked here unintentionally. If we follow all of these, we're getting signals from 4 different elements, making this a potentially very secure and successful trade for us. To easily and freely register with the Quotex broker, click on the link in the video description. Alright, now let's go to the chart. I'll show you how this strategy, which I explained here, performed on past market data, and then we'll do a few trades together using this method. Let's go to the chart. So look friends, here we have a chart. The first point I mentioned was that we come and draw relatively strong support and resistance lines. Let me highlight these a bit so you can see them better in the image. Now I might not draw these lines with exact precision because I want to move quickly, but I'll do my best. The next line, for example, could be here. I'll draw our next line in this section. Okay, I think that's enough. Now we have these 4 lines. I want to show you how this works on the past market, just to review and see how it looks. Then we'll do a few trades in real time. Now we want to draw the trend line. It doesn't really matter much where we start drawing it from. For example, I'll show you here. Let me also increase the thickness of this one. See friends, when a situation like this occurs, we've drawn the SNR lines, and I've also drawn this trend line. You can see that it's a downtrend. Here the trend has been downward. You can see that at the point where these 2 lines intersected, when the candles reached this area, they couldn't continue their upward movement and instead reversed, leading to a decline. It went down again, and this pattern repeated itself. I want to show you how reliable this trend line is, along with the SNR lines we've drawn. Notice that this point where the intersection occurred, I won't erase this line. The market continued with its fluctuations going up and down, and here again we see that at another intersection of these 2 lines, a similar decline happened. This is the trend line but on a different SNR, and again we see how beautifully the decline took place. When it came back to this point, you can see that on this trend line another decline occurred. However, the points where these lines intersect are much more reliable. Here, the decline happened again, and as they say, it's almost foolproof. Then again, we see that it reversed, and at the next SNR, where the trend line intersected, another decline happened. From this point, in every instance, let me use this as an example. I was in profit for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Any trade opened here would have resulted in a profit. Here again, in the same way, you can see that within 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, any trade I opened here would have closed in profit. The same goes for this area. Even in the future, in the present time, Now here, where it seems to be a strong uptrend, the market is breaking through these lines and moving upward. Although it retraced here, if the trend continues and the candles reach around this area, maybe a bit further or closer, we can make another excellent downward trade. It seems that the candles might be reversing again here. Notice the shadow that hit here. It's a clear indication. If we're very cautious and want to be extra sure, we could wait for a confirmation candle, but it's not really necessary. The rejection alone is enough to tell us what's happening. Friends, you can even test this in long-term trends. For instance, take this SNR line we've drawn here. I'll place it around here just as an example, though it's roughly drawn. You see that it came down exactly where our SNR and trend line intersected, resulting in a decline. This didn't happen here or here, but if the market declines from here and then, upon retracing, reaches this point where it intersects with our fourth lower SNR line, I would expect a trend reversal. It might even go up from here and not reach this point at all, but if it does happen, we can confidently make a sell trade here. I think I've explained everything thoroughly. If you have any specific questions, feel free to write them in the comments and I'll definitely respond. Now, we'll use this strategy to make a few trades and see the results together. This itself seems to be a good opportunity, so I'll keep an eye on the chart to see if this setup occurs, and if it does, I'll make the trade and show you the results. Well friends, as you can see here, a very good opportunity has presented itself. I quickly opened the trade, although I got in a bit late. I opened a 2-minute sell trade, and we'll see the result together. Don't do this if you're late to a signal, it's better to avoid entering, but because I wanted to quickly record this lesson and share it with you, I went ahead and opened the trade even though it was at a lower point than I should have. Ideally, I should have opened it here, but I was browsing the chart looking for a suitable opportunity when I suddenly spotted this one and took the trade quickly. However, if you ever find yourself late to a signal, it's better not to enter. As you can see, I opened a 2-minute sell trade and the trend line in this downward trend has intersected with our SNR line here, creating a very strong point. The candles reached this point and you can see how the drop occurred just like that with ease. Well, you saw that this trade closed with a profit. Now, I'm going to continue looking at different charts to find another suitable opportunity so I can place another trade and show you that one as well. Well, here too, friends, we had a good opportunity, but we missed it because I was focused on the other chart where we were trading. So, unfortunately, I missed this excellent opportunity as well. We can see the result now though. Even though we didn't open a trade, the outcome is clear. Now there's another good opportunity for a trade here. After this candle closes, I'll enter a short trade and we'll wait together to see the result. This trade closed in profit, but it was quite an unusual one. There was a significant gap here and the price suddenly jumped, forming a green candle, and then it dropped back down. Until the very last moment, it was fluctuating between profit and loss, but we got lucky in the end, and it closed in profit. However, this kind of candle with long wicks in this situation is quite unusual and suggests that something might have happened in the market to cause it. It's probably wise not to continue trading in this kind of market. Now it seems like another good opportunity is forming. I've just entered a trade right on this line, and we'll wait together to see the result of this trade as well. As you can see, this trade also closed in profit. I think this is enough to prove that my strategy works well. However, I'll continue to look for another good opportunity. If I find one, I'll make one more trade before wrapping up this video. I'll try to do one more trade using this strategy, and then we'll conclude the video. Alright guys, if this candle reaches this point, based on the rejection it gives us, we need to see what its reaction will be. We can make a buy trade here. Alright, I'm opening a buy trade here. I got a bit distracted. I wanted to open the trade at the start of this candle, but it went a bit higher. However, it's okay. I've opened a 2-minute trade and we'll wait together to see the result of this trade as our final one. Well, you saw that our last trade also closed in profit. Friends, this is my personal strategy that I often use for my trades, and I'm very satisfied with it. You can test it out as well, but make sure to first use it on a demo account and see the results before applying it on your live account. Just make sure to follow the guidelines I've mentioned. Always trade in the direction of the trend. Ensure that the SNR and trend line intersect, and then you can execute a trade with high confidence. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you can use this strategy in your trades. Dear friends, to make sure you don't miss any of our videos, please subscribe to the BS Academy channel. Also, activate the notification bell so that you are informed as soon as we publish new videos. Thank you for your support.